Hello everyone. A very good afternoon to all of you and welcome to the another live class of Eduins. So তোমরা তাড়াতাড়ি class. So please do hurry and join the live class so that we can start the live session. आप लोग जल्दी से join हो जाइए. आप लोग जल्दी से join हो जाइए ताकि ये क्लास शुरू हो सके. Hello everyone, good afternoon to everybody and welcome to the another live class of Eduins. तो चलिए आज हम लोगों का क्लास जो है आप लोगों का 10 years क्वेश्चन पेपर सॉल्यूशंस. तो हम लोग आज करेंगे जो दिल्ली 2024 ओके 2024 का जो पेपर था वो इस क्लास में डिस्कस होगा. तो जल्दी से आप लोग ज्वाइन हो जाइए. ओके प्लीज डू हरी एंड ज्वाइन द लाइव क्लास. Okay, so we have already started the CBSE class 10 from the 1st January. So from the 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. you will get a free live class for the CBSE class 10. Okay, and the first question of this live session. This is the first question of this live session. So what is the question? The question is, in human beings, when the process of digestion is completed, the proteins, carbohydrates, and fats are respectively finally converted into. Human digestion होने के बाद जो प्रोटीन, कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स एंड फैट्स ये सारे कौन से फॉर्म में पाया जाता है, फाइनली कौन सा फॉर्म में पाया जाता है. ऑप्शन 1 प्रोटीन इन अमीनो एसिड, carbohydrate in glucose and fats in fatty acid. Then protein in amino acids, carbohydrate, glucose and fats are fatty acid and glycerol. Option C, glucose, fatty acid and glycerol, amino acids, and option D is the sugar, amino acids and fatty acid and glycerol. So which one will be the correct answer? So which one will be the correct answer? As we know that these are the polymers. These all are polymers. What are the polymers? Polymers are made up of so many monomers. Monomers. Monomers are the small molecules, and these monomers togetherly form the polymer. Okay, so these all are polymers, right? So the proteins are, after digestion, what it will do, the complex food or the complex substances are break down into simple and small substances. So we know the proteins are made up of amino acids. Proteins are made up of amino acids. So protein will break down into amino acids. So the one will be the amino acid. That's why option C and option D will be wrong. Between option A and B. Next, carbohydrates. Of course, carbohydrate is also a polymer, and it will break down into glucose, fructose, sucrose, so many forms. So the glucose is also correct. That's why option A and B still we consider. Next, the fat are made up of fatty acid and glycerol. Fatty acid and glycerol, after breakdown it will form fatty acid and glycerol. So option B is the correct answer. Option B is the correct answer. Protein will break down into amino acids, carbohydrates will break down into glucose, and fats are break down into fatty acid and glycerol. Okay, चलिए नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन क्या है? नेक्स्ट, a plant growth inhibitor hormone which cause wilting of leaf is called. The plant growth inhibitor hormone which causes wilting of leaves is called which one? So we know that plant hormones are mainly promote the growth of the plant. As we know that auxin is the hormone which is known as growth hormone, which also help in phototropic movement. So option 1, that is auxin, which is a growth hormone. So option 1 is the wrong answer. Next, the cytokinin is also help in germination. So cytokinin is also the wrong answer. Now the abscisic acid. We know the function of abscisic acid, which will promote the leaf senescence, and also responsible for plant aging. That's why the abscisic acid is the right answer. And gibberellin, we know that is it also help in the stem elongation. Okay, auxin help the apical dominance or help to grow the apical region, and gibberellin help the stem elongation. It will promote the cell division between nodes, and the region between two nodes, that is internode, lengthwise increases. Okay, lengthwise increases. So this is the correct answer, that is abscisic acid is responsible for the growth inhibitor known as growth inhibitor hormone, and also it will causes the wilting of leaves. Clear? Next, the plants that can be raised by the method of vegetative propagation. Option 1, sugarcane, rose and grapes. Sugarcane, mustard, potato. Banana, orange, mustard. Papaya, mustard and potato. Which one? Which one? Okay, so in the first option, that is sugarcane, which will be propagated by stem bud. Stem bud. So it will, it can be vegetatively propagated. Okay. Next, the rose also can propagate it through the cutting. Next, the grapes. Grapes are also propagated through the process of layering. Layering. So option 1 is the correct answer. Sugarcane, rose and grapes. Okay. Sugarcane, rose and grapes. Next, the part of the seed which is a source of food during germination of the seed is cotyledon, radicle, plumule, embryo. Which one? Chaliye. The plant part, the part of the seed, okay, which is a source of food during germination of the seed. If we took a seed that is like this, okay, here we can observe that these parts are known as cotyledon. Okay, next, this is the plumule and this is radicle. This is plumule and this is radicle. Okay, this is radicle and the embryo is situated here. So the food will be served by the cotyledons. Why? Because plumule is the future shoot and radicle are responsible for future root, and this embryo is responsible for the new plant. The embryo is responsible to give rise a new plant. This food is served by the part that is called cotyledons. Okay, so the cotyledons, in the presence of cotyledons, we know the seeds are two types, that is monocotyledon and dicotyledon. This is the dicotyledon. There have two cotyledons, and if in case there is one cotyledon, that is monocotyledon. Okay, so the cotyledon is the part which serve food or source of food during the seed germination. Okay. Next, a zygote is formed by the fusion of male gamete and female gamete. The number of chromosomes in the zygote of a human is, we know that zygote is formed by the fusion of male and female gamete. So the number of chromosomes in the zygote in human, what will be the number? We know that is the in reproductive cells of human or any other sexual reproducing organism, the chromosome number is haploid. Where? In reproductive cells. In reproductive cells like sperm, like ovum. So in case of human, the fusion of sperm and ovum, it will form the zygote. It will form the zygote. So the chromosome number in sperm is n and in ovum is n. So n plus n equals to 2n. Okay. So the chromosome number will be 2n. We know the number of chromosomes in human body in autosome, that is body chromosome. Autosome is 44 and sex chromosome equals to 2. There will be 46, that is 23 pairs. So the correct answer will be option C, 46. The correct answer will be 46. Okay. Next. Okay. The next question, that is the some waste are given below, that is garden waste, ballpoint pen refills, empty medicine bottles made up of glass, peel off of fruits, okay, and vegetables, old cotton shirt, the biodegradable waste, the non-biodegradable waste among these. Okay, इनमें से नॉन बायोडिग्रेडेबल कौन सा है? नंबर 1 गार्डन वेस्ट, नंबर 2 बॉल पॉइंट पेन रिफिल्स, empty medicine bottles made up of glasses, and peel off the fruit and vegetables, old cotton. Okay, so इनमें से नॉन बायोडिग्रेडेबल कौन कौन सा है? चलिए, जो गार्डन का वेस्ट होता है, ओके, जो गार्डन का वेस्ट होता है वो बायोडिग्रेडेबल होता है. वहां पे क्या रहता है? वो ड्राई लीव्स, ड्राई ब्रांचेस, ड्राई ग्रासेस, सो दीज आर बायोडिग्रेडेबल. Now the ball point and refills, these are non-biodegradables. Why? Because they are made up of polyethylene. Next, empty medicine bottles made up of glass. This is also non-biodegradable. Okay, now peel off fruits and vegetables. This is the kitchen waste. So these are also biodegradable. So option B will be the correct answer. That is 2 and 3 are non-biodegradable. यहाँ पे पूछा है कि कौन कौन सा biodegradable, non-biodegradable waste है. ठीक है, चलिए. Next, assertion and reason. So for the assertion and reason, first assertion दिया है कि in the human heart ventricles have thicker muscular wall than atria. Okay, ventricle have to pump the blood into various organs. So assertion में दिया है कि जो ventricular हम ह्यूमन हार्ट का वेंट्रिकुलर वॉल है वो एट्रिया का वॉल से ज्यादा थिक है. ठीक है, एंड उसका रीजन दिया है कि वेंट्रिकल हैव टू पंप ब्लड वेरियस ऑर्गन्स. वेंट्रिकल बॉडी के डिफरेंट ऑर्गन्स में ब्लड सप्लाई करता है. ओके, सो इज इट ट्रू दैट जो assertion में दिया है, इज इट ट्रू और फॉल्स? Is it true or false? Human heart ventricles are thicker muscular walls than atria. Of course, they have thicker muscular wall in ventricles. So this is true. Next, ventricle have to pump the blood various organs. Of course, from the ventricle it passes various parts, passes blood from the various parts of the organ, like the lungs through the pulmonary artery, and to the different parts of the body through the artery, aorta. Okay, so through the aorta the oxygenated blood get reached to the different parts or different organs of the body. So this is also true. Okay, now the ventricle pass different or organs of the body, and it have to pump with a very great pressure, so to create this pressure they have the thick muscular wall. So the assertion is true, and the reason is also true, and the reason is correct explanation of the assertion. Okay, both assertion and reason are true, and the reason is the correct explanation of the assertion. Option A is the correct answer. Clear? चलिए, नेक्स्ट assertion and reason. assertion में दिया है कि oxygen is essential for all aerobic forms of life. Now reason है oxygen, free oxygen atom combine with molecular oxygen to form ozone. Okay, जो assertion में दिया है oxygen is essential for aerobic forms of life. जितने भी जैविक वस्तुएं हैं वो लाइफ प्रोसेस में ऑक्सीजन एसेंशियल कंपोनेंट है, ये ट्रू है. ठीक है, दिस इज ट्रू. नाउ फ्री ऑक्सीजन एटम्स कंबाइन विथ molecular oxygen to form the ozone. We know that O2 plus O equals to O3. Okay, this is also true that molecular oxygen combined with the oxygen atom to form the ozone. Okay, this is also true, but there have no relation between aerobic respiration and ozone formation. So the answer will be both assertion and reason are true, but the reason is not the correct explanation of the assertion. Right? Right? Option B is the correct answer. The assertion and reason are true, but the reason is not the correct explanation of the assertion. चलिए, इंद्रोनील, ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन क्या है? We need to water the soil in plants on a regular basis, but it ultimately reaches the leaf of the plant. Explain how this takes place. We need to water the soil in plants on a regular basis, but ultimately reaches the leaves. It reaches the leaves of the plant. How this takes place? चलिए देखते हैं. We know that plants have the vascular tissue. What? Vascular tissue, which is made up of xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem. And these xylem and phloem have different functions. Like xylem is responsible for water transportation. And phloem responsible for transport the food. Transport the food. Okay, so and these vascular tissue are distributed throughout their body. And in case of, if this is the plant and this is the root, okay, this is the root, and we are watering here inside the soil. The water is captured now through the osmosis. Why? Because we know the process of osmosis, where the concentration of the solutes is high and concentration of solutes solvent is low. Then if there is the cell sap, this is the cell of the plant, so solute concentration is high, and outside the soil the solute or water concentration is high. So the water will get reached to the lower concentration, and that's how the plants absorb the water from the soil. After absorbing the water, it will send to the vascular tissue of the plant, and this vascular tissue, that is xylem, is mainly responsible for the water transportation. Through the xylem it will get rich. In case of taller plants, they have another pressure or force. Okay, what is this? That is transpiration pull. They have, this pressure is known as root pressure. What is root pressure? After absorbing the water from the soil, the surrounding cells are also took the water from this osmosis, and this pressure of the root is known as root pressure, by which the water is get reached to the to a certain height of the plant. Now the transpiration pool is what? We know that plants during photosynthesis, it will release the excess water as a form of water vapor, and this water vapor, if this is a place and the water get released from it, there will be the scarcity of water. So the scarcity of water in the stomatal or substomatal space and in the leaf, inside the leaves, create a suction pool. And this suction pool is actually helped to get rise the water in case of taller plants. Clear? So that's how the water which is absorbed by the root from the soil get reached to the different parts or leaves of the plants. Okay. Next, hi Hriday. Okay, next question. Name the type of nutrition exhibited by amoeba. Explain how food is taken in and digested by this organism. The name of type of nutrition exhibited by amoeba. Okay, exhibited by amoeba. So what is the type of nutrition? We know that type of nutrition occurs in amoeba is known as holozoic. What is holozoic nutrition? The mode of nutrition where the food or raw food is taken, then it digested inside the body. Okay, first ingestion of the food or food is taken, then digested inside the body. This is known as holozoic nutrition, and which is occurs in amoeba as well as in case of humans. So what is the method of the how the food is taken in and digested by this organism? We know that the amoeba is a irregular shape. Now there is a food particles here. There is one food particle. Then what it will do? It will do in next step that it will form the pseudopodia, okay, around the food, then it will totally surround it, surround the food, or the pseudopodia will totally surround it, the food particles, like by the fusion of their cell membrane, it will take the food inside its body. Now the digestive enzymes will break down this food. Now the digestive enzymes the lysogenic enzymes break down this food, okay, break down this food, and after that the waste are removed. From the body. So this is the mechanism how they take in the food, the food, and how they digest the food. Okay. Next, the survival of a species is promoted through the creation of variation. Illustrate with an example. क्या पूछा है यहाँ पे? The survival of the species, जो species survive करता है, is promoted through creation of variations. जो variation उनमें आता है वो promote करता है एक species को survive करने के लिए. So इसको elaborate करने के लिए बोला है. Okay, so the survival of the species is promoted by the creation of variations. Now we know that the variations mean what? The mutation in the mutation of what? That is DNA sequence. So in an adverse condition or in any changing condition, if the organism have to survive in this environment or in this critical condition, they have to adapt themselves with the environment or with the situation. Okay, so for an example, we can say that in extreme cold, some bacteria, or in extreme hot, the bacteria can survive. So their genetic makeup will made up of the genetic makeup is made up of by this for this environment, that to survive themselves in this critical environment. So the survival of the species, so if a species have to survive in different weather, different conditions like extreme weather or any extreme pollution or anything else, they have to adapt themselves in this changing environment. Okay, so in this changing environment, for adapting themselves, they have to create themselves some extra characteristics, or they have to create themselves from the external and internal characteristics. Like Biston Betullaria moth, we know all the examples. A common examples, that is Biston Betullaria moth, that is a moth which is in first, the white color moth are majorly predated by the predators. Now after the pollution, after the industrialization, these moths are get shedded. Okay, these moths are get shedded, and the gray color moth will get prominent to the predators. Okay, so in this changing environment, the Biston Betullaria white moths will survive, and the gray, after that, it will be predated by their predators. So this is the condition, this is the example that a species can survive with the variations, if the changes or variation is helpful for them. If the variations is helpful for them, or the mutation is the positively affected them, then it will survive. Okay, so the example I have already told, that is in case of bacteria, that is hot spring, we found some bacteria in hot springs, we found some bacteria in the extreme cold weather. Okay, चलो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन क्या है? Explain with a help of diagram the process of reproduction in hydra by budding. Okay, name the cells used for the reproduction of this process. Okay, chalo. First we know that hydra is look like okay, so this is a hydra. Now the name of cells used for this reproduction, for this process, that is we may discuss it later, the image. First draw the image. Now this is an hydra, which is, this is the body, this is stalk, these are tentacles, and this is the bud. We know the mode of reproduction in case of hydra is budding. Now these bodies get detached plus the bud is get detached from the body and it will form an individual. Okay, it will form an individual. So at the first part, I have drawn here a large bud, that is in first part it will look like a small bud like this, and it will grow into a new hydra. It will grow into new hydra. Okay, so this is the process. Now name the cell used for the reproduction of this process. This is the regenerative cell. Regenerative cells, which will help the hydra for the vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction. Now the second question. The second question, list two roles of each of the following in human reproductive system: seminal vesicle and prostate gland, oviduct and testis. Okay, seminal vesicle, then your prostate gland. Okay. So the prostate gland, we know this is the reproductive gland in case of male. It will release the fluid which is a component of semen. Okay, and seminal vesicles, which is mainly responsible for release semen. Okay, major part. Now the function of oviduct. The function of the oviduct. So we know that the oviduct is actually the function where the egg is waited for the sperm. So it will carry the ovule, as on also the function of oviduct. This is the site of fertilization. Okay, now the testis. So what is the function? What are the function of testis? The testis, first of all, produce sperms. Sperms also to produce and release testosterone. Okay, it will release testosterone. So these are the functions of the seminal vesicle and prostate for the semen components, and oviduct for carry the ovule and site of fertilization, testis produce sperms or spermatozoa and release the sex hormone in case of male, that is testosterone. Okay, चलो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन क्या है? List two differences between dominant trait and recessive trait. What percentage of pea plants in the F2 generation were with yellow seed in Mendel's cross between the pea plants having yellow and green color seed? Okay. So I think there will be the where yellow seed in the Mendel's cross between pea plants having yellow and green color seeds. Okay, chalo. First, dominant trait and recessive traits, difference between them. So first, dominant trait and second, recessive. So first point will be the dominant trait can be expressed their characters in case of homozygous and heterozygous condition. Express its characters or character in both homozygous and hetero condition, but the recessive trait only shows its character in homozygotic condition or homozygous condition. Okay, so homozygotic condition or homozygous condition. Okay, the next point will be the frequency to observe the dominant trait is high. The frequency of dominant trait to observe the dominant trait is high, and the frequency of recessive trait or to observe the recessive trait is low. How? If we cross between capital T cross with small t, in the first generation there will be all are capital T small t, which is tall, and this is the dominant trait. In next generation we will found capital T small t 2 and small t. So there will be 3 tall and 1 is short. So the frequency of the dominant trait to observe is high. That's how the frequency of the dominant trait to observe high, and this is the difference between dominant trait and recessive trait. Next, what is the percentage of pea plants in F2 generation were with yellow seed? Okay, capital Y for yellow, and small y for green. So these are the gametes, and in case of yellow there will be capital Y. These are the gametes. So this is P1 generation, and these are the gametes. These are the gametes. Now cross between them. So all there will be, we can observe capital Y and small y. Capital Y and small y, which is the yellow. We know in F1 generation or filial 1 generation. Okay. Now the cross between the F1 generation offsprings, that is the capital Y small y cross with capital Y small y. Now this is the F2 or P2 generation. Okay. Now if we do the checkerboard or Punnett square, we can observe that capital Y, and here the small y. Okay. Now here is one small y, here will be the small y, here will be the small y. Now capital Y, capital Y small y, capital Y small y, and one is small y. So these are the genotypes of F2 generation. This is in F2 generation. In F2 generation, we can observe that there will be 4 types of offsprings, that is, one is capital Y, one is capital Y small y 2, and small y 1. So the capital Y is tall. The capital Y and small y is also tall. Sorry, this is yellow. This is also yellow. Okay. So out of 4, 3 of them are yellow. So what will be the percentage of yellow seeds? That is 75%. 75%. Clear? Good afternoon, Radhesham. How are you? I hope this is clear. So what will be the percentage? What will be the percentage of your yellow seed? This is 75%. If they have a question, that is, what will be the percentage in F2 generation where pure yellow seed, pure, if there will be pure, then it will be to only 25%, because the 50% are hybrid. 50% are hybrid, and 25% are recessive. Okay, pure recessive, this is hybrid, and this is pure dominant. Okay, so this is the ratio, or this is the percentage. Now move to the next question. Okay, study the picture given below. Show the three food chains A, B, and C, and answer the following questions. Okay, number one, name the type of ecosystem that exists in the food chain B and C. Okay, the first trophic level in all the food chains are producer. Why? What is the percentage of solar energy do these producers capture for their use? And question number three, why are the arrows shown in the diagram in one direction only and not the vice versa? Justify. Okay, very good question. Now the first question, that is, name the type of the ecosystems that exist in the food chain B and C. B and C. Okay, go for it. B and C. For the B, we can observe there have the plants. Okay, there are the plants, then grasshopper, then frog, then your snake, and then eagle. Okay, but so this is an terrestrial, this is an terrestrial ecosystem. This is for the B, this is terrestrial ecosystem. And for C, we can observe that first some plants, then scorpion, then fish, then ergot or bird. So fish will found in the water body. So this will be aquatic ecosystem, like any pond, lake, or anything else. So this is the aquatic ecosystem. Okay, now the first trophic level of all in all food chains are producer. Why? 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 Because we all know that the producers are the primary level of any ecosystem's food chain. Okay, it will capture the solar energy and convert it in the solar energy into the chemical energy. Okay, so in case of these food chains, or in case of these ecosystems, the producers are the plants, and these plants capture the sun energy and produce the food which will be consumed by the different level of consumers, directly or indirectly. Okay, so this is the first trophic level of the food chain are the producer. That's why, because they are the only able to capture the sun energy or sunlight for the to producing the food. Okay, to producing the food. The next question, that is the percentage of solar energy this produces by the capture for their use, that is 1% only, which is 1% only. Okay, next, why the arrow shown in the diagram in one direction? Why the arrows shown in the diagram in one direction only, not the vice versa? Justify. We know that, okay, Radhesham from Hooghly district. Okay, Radhesham, are you student from CBSE board? So we know that the arrow or the level of energy flow in is only occurs in one way direction only. The energy will flow always in a unidirectional movement or unidirectional path, not the multiple or bidirectional path. That is, it will always move from this to this, never reverse it. So never reverse it. So the arrows are shown here in unidirectional or one way direction only. Clear? This is clear? So for this, if I give an example, that is the grass or the plants are consumed by the deer and the deer is consumed by the tiger. Now I never expect that the deer will the plants will consume the deer or the deer will consume the tiger. Never it will happens. So that's why the energy flow will be in one way direction. Okay. Let's go for the next one. Define reflex arc. Why have reflex arcs involved in animals? Trace the sequence of the event which occurs when you suddenly touch a hot object. Okay. So define reflex arc. Reflex arc is the pathway or path which through which the stimulus will get reached to the central nervous system and the response from the central nervous system will reach to the parts or organs of the body where the receptor or responsive muscles, okay, responsive muscles are there or effectors organ. Okay. So the pathway, that is the receptor, through the receptor the stimulus will carried. Okay, first stimulus then receptor will carry the take the stimulus and get reached into the sensory neuron. From the sensory neuron it will get reached to the spinal cord, which is the part of central nervous system. From the spinal cord it will generate a response. These response are carried through the motor neuron. And this motor neuron get reached to the effector muscle. This is neuron or nerve. Okay, so this is the path. This is actually the reflex arc. Okay, this is the reflex arc. Trace the sequence of event which occurs when you suddenly touch an hot object. So when you touch an hot object, this is the hotness is the stimulus. So from here we can solve this question. The hotness is the stimulus. Okay, this hotness is the stimulus which is received by the hand. Then the hand from the sensory nerve, it will get reached to the spinal cord, which is the part of the central nervous system. Then spinal cord will create a response to remove the hand. Take away the hand. Okay, from the motor neuron, it will get reached to the effector muscle, and the hand is removed. Took away. Okay, so this is the sequence, or this is the path when you touch an hot plate or hot object, it will happens and the hand is removed from the hot place. Okay, now the next part, name the part of the nervous system which help in communication between the central nervous system and other parts of the body. What are the two components of this unit? Okay, the question is the name of the nervous system which help to communicate between the central nervous system and other parts of the body. We know the name, that is PNS, peripheral nervous system. Outside the central nervous system, which will communicate between CNS and different organs. Now the two components, of course we know, that is somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. One is somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. These two, somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system actually controlled by us. Okay, that is the blinking of eye, which is controlled by us. This is actually voluntary. But this is involuntary. Sorry. Somatic nervous system are voluntary. But autonomic nervous system are involuntary. That is the peristaltic movement, which is not maintained or regulated by us. According to our will, the works will done, the functions we can do, that is the somatic nervous system, that is blinking of eyes and opening of mouth, these such activities. And in case of autonomic nervous system, that this is involuntary, that is the peristaltic movement or the involuntary muscle movement, diaphragm movement. These are the examples of autonomic nervous system. Okay, leaves of Chuimui plant begin to fold up and droop in response to a stimulus. Name the stimulus and write the cause for such rapid movement. Is there any growth involved in this movement? Okay, जो छुई मुई प्लांट होता है उनका एक स्पेशल स्टिमुलस की रिस्पॉन्स में उनका जो लीव्स होता है वो ड्रूप हो जाता है. ठीक है. सो व्हाट इज द stimulus, name of the stimulus, what is the name of the stimulus, and what is the cause? Okay, so first the name of the stimulus is the mechanical touch. mechanical touch. First. Second, write the cause of such rapid movement. That is, cause is the turgor pressure. Turgor pressure. Turgor pressure. So turgor pressure is, that is, in case of plants, the cells absorb water and it will bulged, like in case of your grapes. Okay, so it will bulged out. This is known as turgor pressure. When some stimulus or mechanical touch, it will get the stimulus, then this turgor pressure loses, and so that the leaves get drooped. Okay, now is there any growth involved in this movement? No, this movement does not involve any growth. This is not involved any growth. Clear? This is only occurs by the changing of water pressure. This is only occurs due to the changes of water pressure. So it do not include any growth. Next, define the geotropism in plants. What in meant by positive and negative geotropism? Give an example of each type. Okay, first, geotropism. What is geotropism? Geotropism is a type of tropic movement where the stimulus is the your gravity. Where the stimulus is the gravity. Now, the positive and negative geotropism. Positive and negative geotropism. When the plant parts or plant parts move towards the gravity, it will positive geotropism, and when plant parts move away from the gravity, this is negative geotropism. Okay, this is known as negative geotropism. So what are the example? That is, the root of the plant shows roots of the plant shows the positive geotropism, and shoot of the plant shows negative geotropism. Okay, the shoot of the plant moves or grow against the gravity, and roots grow towards the gravity. So these are the examples of negative and positive geotropism. Okay. Now, next question, in which part of the nephron does the selective reabsorption takes place? List the factors which the amount of water reabsorbed depend on. In which part of the kidney, in which part of the nephron does selective reabsorption takes place? We know that is the answer, that is part of the nephron that selective reabsorption takes place are the PCT and loop of Henle. PCT mean proximal convoluted tubule. Okay, proximal convoluted tubule and loop of Henle. These are the two parts where selective reabsorption takes place. Now, name of the factors. List the factors which the amount of water reabsorb depend on. First of all, we know the factors. Out of these factors, first of all, the hormone which is responsible for reabsorption of water in kidney or in nephron, that is ADH, antidiuretic hormone. First. Second, that is iron. Okay, of course, iron. And number 3, the hydration status. Of the body. Okay, hydration status of the body. These are the 3 factors responsible for or depends the reabsorption of water depends on these 3 factors. Okay. Hi Mondira, how are you? Okay, so that's all for the today's class. We have completed the biology section from your 2024 papers, and every day we will do CBSE live class for the class 10 only. Especially, this is absolutely free for you. And we are solving now that last 10 years question for your board exam. So you all are welcome for this live session, for this live class, and please inform your friends and other if you have any other known person that they are appearing for the board exam of CBSE. Please inform them to join the live class and solve with us the 10 years question. Okay, hope it will be helpful for all of you and it will help for your exam. So thank you for today. We will meet in another class. Thank you everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Bye.